How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, April 24th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Saturday, April 23rd. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we are halfway through the weekend, taking a quick step back and looking at where we are in the 2022 calendar year. We are still in the first round of the NBA playoffs as there are still 16 teams left competing for the 2022 NBA title. Not a team has been eliminated yet, but we are going to start to see that change in the next couple of days. Taking a look at what's going on with hockey, the regular season is almost over as the Stanley Cup season should be starting within the next week. And taking a look at what's going on with baseball, the MLB season is most definitely underway, and the NFL draft is right around the corner. Taking a look at what's going on with soccer overseas, some teams are starting to lock up their domestic titles as Spain, Germany, and France have already seen their leagues won already. So far, right now, it's up to Italy and England out of the top five when it comes to still determining who's going to win those leagues. But with that said, I'm going to start first with what's going on in the NBA, as there were 4 playoff games yesterday. The first of them was in Toronto, as the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, Toronto Raptors, hosted the 4 seed Philadelphia 76ers. After the Sixers won the first 3 games of the series, they won their first 2 games in Philly by 20 and 15, and they won their third game in Toronto off of a last-second shot. In Game 4, the Raptors would beat the Sixers 110-102 to, of course, stay within the series and avoid getting swept. They won this game by 8 after they outscored the Sixers by 5 points in the second quarter and in the fourth quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the 4 seed 76ers were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard and former NBA MVP James Harden. Harden finished with 22 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, and 3 blocks in 42 minutes. He shot 5 for 17 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3, and 10 for 11 from the free throw line. The Sixers' elite starting center out of Kansas, Joel Embiid, finished with 21 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 turnovers in 39 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field and 7 for 9 from the free throw line. The Sixers' starting power forward, Tobias Harris, finished with 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 41 minutes as he almost fouled out. He shot 7 for 12 from the field. Their starting point guard, Tyrese Maxey, finished with 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in 39 minutes. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown 5 seed Toronto Raptors were led in scoring by their starting power forward Pascal Siakam. He finished with 34 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks in 44 minutes as the former most improved player would finish shooting 10 for 19 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and 13 for 15 from the free throw line. The Raptors starting shooting guard out of Duke, Gary Trent Jr., finished with 24 points and 2 steals in 39 minutes. He shot 8 for 20 from the field and made all 5 of his free throws. The Raptors starting small forward out of Indiana, OG Anunoby, finished with 11 points and 5 rebounds in 31 minutes. Their all-star starting shooting guard out of Wichita State, Fred VanVleet, would finish with 5 points in 15 minutes, alongside 2 rebounds and 3 assists. He shot 2 for 6 from the field and 1 for 3 from 3. Off the bench, their power forward, Thaddeus Young, finished with 13 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in 30 minutes. With this win, the 5 seed Toronto Raptors still trail the 4 seed 76ers 3-1 in the series. They have to win their next 3 games in order to make it to the second round of this tournament. And on the losing end of this matchup, the 76ers still lead the series 3-1. One more win in the next 3 games, and they should be able to advance to the second round to face off against the winner between the 1 seed Miami Heat and the 8 seed Atlanta Hawks out east. Game 5 between these teams will be played in Philadelphia on the 25th, which will be tomorrow on NBA TV. So, of course, this series could see itself come to an end tomorrow as opposed to yesterday. Looking at the second game to take place, as it took place in Salt Lake City, the 5 seed in the Western Conference Utah Jazz hosted the 4 seed Dallas Mavericks as the Mavericks came into Game 4 with a 2-1 series lead. After the Mavericks were able to win Game 3 in Utah, the Jazz would even up the series at 2 after beating the Mavericks 100-99 last night, thanks to a game-winning play that saw Donovan Mitchell alley-oop it to Rudy Gobert. On the losing end of this matchup, the 4-seed Dallas Mavericks were led by their elite starting shooting guard out of Slovenia, Luka Doncic. He finished with 30 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 11 for 21 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3, and he made all 4 of his free throws. Their starting point guard, Jalen Brunson, finished with 23 points and 5 rebounds in 35 minutes. He shot 7 for 18 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Their starting power forward, Dorian Finney-Smith, finished with 11 points in 40 minutes. Their starting small forward, Reggie Bullock, finished with 11 points and 7 rebounds in 46 minutes. Their starting center, Dwight Powell, finished with 11 points and 7 rebounds in 24 minutes. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown 5-seed Utah Jazz were led in scoring by their point guard off the bench, former NBA Sixth Man of the Year, Jordan Clarkson. He finished with 25 points in 36 minutes. He shot 9 for 16 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he would shoot 4 for 5 from the free throw line. The Jazz elite starting shooting guard out of Louisville, Donovan Mitchell, finished with 23 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 7 for 21 from the field, 2 for 10 from 3, and 7 for 9 from the free throw line. The Jazz elite starting center, Rudy Gobert, finished with 17 points and 15 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 4 for 8 from the field and 9 for 8 from the foul line. Their starting small forward, Bojan Bogdanovic, finished with 12 points in 39 minutes. He shot 4 for 10 from the field and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. With this win, the 5-seed Utah Jazz have evened up the series, tying it up with the 4-seed Dallas Mavericks, as Game 5 will be played in Dallas. It'll be tomorrow on TNT. From now, there are 3 games left in the series, as of course they've gone to Game 6, but we still have yet to see if they need to go to Game 7. From here on out, the Jazz and the Mavericks need to win 2 of their next 3 to be the team that advances to the next round to face off against the winner between the 1-seed Phoenix Suns and the 8-seed New Orleans Pelicans. But right now, that series is tied up at 2. Looking at the third game that took place yesterday, it was the 2-7 matchup in the Eastern Conference that saw the 7-seed Brooklyn Nets host the 2-seed Boston Celtics. After the Celtics won the first 2 games of the series in Boston, they won the first game by 1, and they would win the second game by 7. The Celtics would come into Game 3 and beat the Nets 109-103. They won it by 6 to take a 3-0 lead in the series, after they went on to outscore the Nets by 5 in the first quarter and then by 6 in the third. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown 7-seed Brooklyn Nets were led in scoring by their starting small forward out of Miami, Bruce Brown. He finished with 26 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and 5 turnovers in 40 minutes. Bruce Brown shot 10 for 19 from the field and 4 for 6 from the free throw line. The Nets' goated starting power forward and former MVP and Finals MVP Kevin Durant finished with 16 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 turnovers in 46 minutes. Durant shot 6 for 11 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and he made both of his free throws on the night. Their elite starting point guard out of Duke, Kyrie Irving, finished with 16 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, and 3 steals in 43 minutes. He shot 6 for 17 from the field as he made all 4 of his free throws. The Nets starting power forward off the bench, Nick Claxton, finished with 13 points and 7 rebounds in 21 minutes. Their point guard off the bench out of Australia, Patty Mills, finished with 12 points in 23 minutes. Their starting shooting guard, Seth Curry, finished with 10 points in 34 minutes as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the 2nd-seed Boston Celtics were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward, Jason Tatum. Tatum finished with 39 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 steals, and 6 turnovers in 45 minutes. Tatum shot 13 for 29 from the field, 4 for 13 from 3, and 9 for 10 from the free throw line. The Celtics starting shooting guard Jaylen Brown out of Cal finished with 23 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 16 from the field, and he would make all 4 of his free throws on the night. The Celtics starting point guard and the 2021-22 Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart, finished with 14 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 6 for 15 from the field. The Celtics point guard off the bench, Peyton Pritchard, finished with 10 points in 12 minutes. With this win, the 2-seed Boston Celtics now hold a 3-0 series lead over the 7-seed Brooklyn Nets. With one more win, they should advance. With one more win in their next 4 games against the Brooklyn Nets, They should be able to advance to the next round, as Game 4 will be played in Brooklyn tomorrow on TNT. On the losing end of this matchup, the Brooklyn Nets trail 3-0. They have to win their next 4 games if they feel like if they feel like they should be able to advance to the next round to face off against the winner between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Chicago Bulls. But right now, the Celtics lead that series 3-0 as the Nets are now facing elimination. Now, last but not least, taking a look at what happened in the 2-7 series in the West. The 7-seed Minnesota Timberwolves hosted the Memphis Grizzlies after the Grizzlies held a 2-1 series lead entering this matchup after beating the Timberwolves by 9 last game. In Game 4, the Timberwolves would beat the Grizzlies 119-118. They would go on to win this game by 1 after they outscored the Grizzlies by 5 in the first quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the 2-seed Memphis Grizzlies were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard out of TCU, Desmond Bane. Bane finished with 34 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 11 for 18 from the field, 8 for 12 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the free throw line. The Grizzlies starting small forward out of Oregon, Dylan Brooks, finished with 24 points in 34 minutes as he shot 10 for 20 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. Their power forward off the bench, Brandon Clark, finished with 15 points and 5 rebounds in 29 minutes. He shot 7 for 9 from the field. Their point guard off the bench out of Duke, Tyus Jones, finished with 13 points in 22 minutes. Their elite starting point guard out of Murray State, John Morant, finished with 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 15 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 4 for 13 from the field, and he made all 3 of his free throws. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown 7-seed Minnesota Timberwolves were led in scoring by their elite starting center, Karl Anthony Towns, out of Kentucky. Towns finished with 33 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and 6 turnovers in 42 minutes. The former number 1 overall pick shot 8 for 17 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 14 for 17 from the foul line. The Timberwolves' other former number 1 overall pick, their elite starting small forward out of Georgia, Anthony Edwards, finished with 24 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks in 37 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and he made all 6 of his free throws on the night. The Timberwolves starting point guard Patrick Beverley finished with 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 37 minutes. Their point guard off the bench, Jordan McLaughlin, finished with 16 points and 2 steals in 14 minutes. Their starting power forward, Jared Vanderbilt, finished with 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals in 35 minutes. Their starting point guard out of Ohio State, D'Angelo Russell, finished with 10 points and 7 assists in 35 minutes. With this win, the 7-seed Minnesota Timberwolves have tied the series up with the 2-seed Memphis Grizzlies. Game 5 will be in Memphis on the 26th on Tuesday. That game is going to be on TNT. As from here on out, these two teams need to win 2 of their next 3 games if they feel like they need to be able to face off against the winner between the Denver Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors in the second round of the playoffs. But as of right now, those teams are still standing. That is what the NBA is looking like following yesterday, as all 16 of the first-round teams are still in contention. The only team who is facing elimination today are the Denver Nuggets, but I'll get to them in a second as they play on ABC at 3:30 in Ball Arena. The Golden State Warriors lead that series 3-0 as this is going to be Game 4. The Nuggets look to pick up their first win of the series. Otherwise, they are going to get swept. The Nuggets have to win their next 4 games if they want to make it to the next round. If the Warriors make it through, they will be the first team to make it through to the second round, as they would have to face off against the winner between the 2-seed Memphis Grizzlies and the 7-seed Minnesota Timberwolves. Right before that, at 1 o'clock on ABC, the 6th seed in the East, Chicago Bulls, are going to host the 3-seed defending NBA champs Milwaukee Bucks. Coming into Game 4, the Bucks hold a 2-1 series lead after they were able to win Game 3 by 30 in Chicago. This is Chicago's chance to even up the series. This is the Bucks' chance to get within 1 win of making it to the next round. And taking a look at what happens, looking at the third game that's going to be today. On TNT in State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, the 8th-seed Atlanta Hawks are going to host the top seed in the East, the Miami Heat, after the Hawks were able to win Game 3 by by 1 off of a last-second floater from Trae Young. One more win here would put the Heat 1 win away from the next round, and 1 win from the Hawks would even up the series at 2, going back to Miami for Game 5. Last but not least, at 9:30 on TNT, the 8-seed New Orleans Pelicans are going to host the 1-seed Phoenix Suns in the Smoothie King Center as the Phoenix Suns lead this series 2-1 after they won their last game in New Orleans by 3. So a win from the Pelicans could even up the series. 1 win from the Suns would put them 1 win away from the second round. To give a sense of what the NBA is looking like, there are 16 teams still standing, as there could be 15 by the end of the day, as all eyes are on the Nuggets today. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB now, starting off in our nation's capital in Washington, D.C., the Washington Nationals hosted the San Francisco Giants. The Giants would beat the Nationals 5-2, thanks to scoring 4 runs in the 5th inning before the Nats would score both of theirs in the same inning. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Washington Nationals were led out by their starting pitcher Aaron Sanchez. Sanchez allowed 4 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 4.1 innings he pitched. He would strike out a batter and walk 1 before he was pulled in the 5th inning. With this loss, Aaron Sanchez is 0-1 for the Nationals. In their batting lineup, their third baseman, Michael Franco, went 2 for 4. Also, their second baseman, Cesar Hernandez, went 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the San Francisco Giants were led out by their starting pitcher, Alex Wood. Wood would pick up the win as he allowed 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 and walked 1 in that span. With this win, he's now 2-0 for the Giants this year. The save would end up going to the Giants closer for the day, Camilo Doval. Doval allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 9th inning. He would strike out 1 as he picked up his 3rd save of the year. In the Giants batting lineup, their left fielder, Jock Peterson, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their third baseman, Wilmer Flores, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 10-5. That is currently the second best record in the National League West, as they've won their last 2 games and they've won 7 of their last 10. They are currently sitting half a game behind the division-leading LA Dodgers, as they only have 1 more loss than the Dodgers at this point in the year. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are 6-11. That is the worst record in the National League East and the second worst record in the National League. Only the Reds have a worse record than the Nats. The Nats have lost their last 4 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. Their 4-game losing streak is the second longest active losing streak in the National League, as the only longer losing streak is the Reds. At the moment, the Washington Nationals are sitting 5.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Jumping out to New York, but this time the Bronx, the New York Yankees would host the Cleveland Guardians. The Yankees would end up beating the Guardians 5-4. The Guardians held a 4-3 lead going into the 9th, and at the bottom of the 9th, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa's double would tie the game up at 4, and it would be an RBI single, a walk-off RBI single from Gleyber Torres to give the Yankees their win. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cleveland Guardians were led out by their starting pitcher, Cal Quantrill. Quantrill allowed 3 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 6.1 innings he pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 3. The blown save in the loss would go to their closer, Emmanuel Clase. This will be his first blown save of the year, and this will be his second loss. He would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits as he would not finish the 9th inning. He would strike out a batter and walk 1, and with this loss, he is 0-2 on the season. In the Guardians batting lineup, their first baseman, Josh Naylor, went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his first home run of the season. He was the only player on the Guardians with a multi-hit game. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown New York Yankees were led out by their starting pitcher, Nestor Cortes. Cortes would allow 2 earned runs off of 1 hit in the 6.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 8 batters and walked 2. The win would go to the Yankees closer, Miguel Castro. Castro would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his first win of the year. He's now 1-0 for the Yanks. In the Yankees batting lineup, the only player on their team with more than 1 hit was their shortstop, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the New York Yankees are 9-6. That is the second best record in the American League East, as they've won their last 2 games and they've won 6 of their last 10. They are sitting a full game behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays north of the border at this moment. And with this loss, the Cleveland Guardians are 7-7. That is still the best record in the American League Central, as they've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They are currently sitting half a game over the second place Minnesota Twins within their division. As currently looking, they are tied. They are sitting behind 3 teams in the AL East, 2 teams in the AL West, and they are currently tied with the Oakland Athletics for the 7th best record-ish. I guess they're holding the 8th best record in the American League at this moment, as it stands. But they still have the best record in their division, sitting half a game over the Twins. Taking a look at what happened in Detroit, the Detroit Tigers would host the Colorado Rockies for a doubleheader. In the first matchup, they would end up shutting the Rockies out 13-0, not even giving them a single chance. On the losing end of Game 1, the Rockies were led out by their starting pitcher, Antonio Senzatella. He would allow 5 earned runs off of 10 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters in that span, and with his loss, he's 1-1. In the Rockies batting lineup, their right fielder, Randal Grichuk, went 2 for 3. He was the only player with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Detroit Tigers were led out by their starting pitcher, Tarik Skubal. He would allow no earned runs off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched, as he would strike out 6 on the day. With this win, he's now 1-1. In the Tigers batting lineup, their right fielder, Robbie Grossman, went 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their left fielder, Austin Meadows, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. Their future Hall of Fame designated hitter, Miguel Cabrera, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run, as his first hit of the day was his 3,000th hit of his MLB career. Not many people get to do that, especially considering the fact he also has 500 home runs alongside of it. Their starting second baseman, Jonathan Schoop, would end up going 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their first baseman, Spencer Torkelson, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs, as their rookie hit his 3rd home run of the season. Their shortstop, Harold Castro, went 4 for 5 with 2 runs. And then their catcher, Tucker Barnhart, would go 2 for 5 as well. Following this win, they would go on to lose Game 2, as the Rockies would even up this doubleheader 3-2, scoring all 3 of their runs in the first 3 of the games before the Tigers got a chance. On the losing end of Game 2, the Tigers were led out by their starting pitcher, Beau Brieske. Beau Brieske would pick up his first loss of the season, as he allowed 3 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 2, and with this loss, Brieske is now 0-1 on the season. I don't know if I'm getting the name right. Sorry if I'm butchering it. Nobody on the Tigers this game would finish with more than 1 hit, as their pinch-hitting outfielder, Austin Meadows, would end up going 1 for 2 with both of the team's RBIs. On the winning end of this matchup, the Colorado Rockies were led out by their starting pitcher, Austin Gomber. Austin Gomber would pick up his first win of the season, as he allowed no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 6 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 8 batters and walk none. With this win, Austin Gomber is 1-1 on the season for the Rockies. The save in this game would end up going to the Rockies' closer, Alex Colome. Colome allowed 2 earned runs off of 2 hits in the 9th inning. He would strike out a batter and walk 1. This would be his 2nd save of the year. In the Rockies batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit on the day, as their right fielder, Charlie Blackmon, went 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 2nd home run of the season. With this win, with this loss and win, the Rockies are now 9-5. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West, win percentage-wise. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. They now sit a full game behind the division-leading Los Angeles Dodgers. With this loss, the Detroit Tigers are now 6-8 after they won their first one. They are tied with the Chicago White Sox for the 3rd best record in the American League Central, as the Tigers have now lost 6 of their last 10 games. They sit 1 full game behind the division-leading Cleveland Guardians at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Chicago, not that far away, the Cubs would host the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Cubs would beat the Pirates 21-0. They were up 9-0 at the end of the 2nd. At the end of the 5th, they were up 16-0, just to give you a sense of how the Pirates really kind of got dominated this game. On the losing end of this matchup, they were led out by their starting pitcher, Zach Thompson. Thompson would go on to allow 9 runs off of 9 hits in the 2 innings that he pitched. He would strike out a batter and walk 2, as with his loss, he's now 0-2. In the Pirates batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than one hit. Taking a look at how the Cubs, of course, would fare on the winning end of this matchup, they were led, of course, by their starting pitcher, Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks would pick up his first win of the season as he allowed no earned runs off of 2 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He would strike out 2 batters. With this win, Kyle Hendricks is 1-1. In the Cubs batting lineup, their right fielder, Seiya Suzuki, went 3 for 4 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their catcher, Wilson Contreras, went 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. Their left fielder, Ian Happ, went 3 for 6 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. Their second baseman, Jonathan Villar, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. Their center fielder, Jason Hayward, would end up going 2 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs. Their first baseman, Alfonso Rivas, would end up going 3 for 6 with 5 RBIs and a run. He would go on to hit his first home run of the season. And then their shortstop, Nico Hoerner, would go 4 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Chicago Cubs are 7-8. That they are tied with the Pittsburgh Pirates for the 3rd best record in the National League Central. The Cubs have won 4 of their last 10 games as they trail the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals by 3 games. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are also 7-8, tied with the Cubs for the 3rd best record in the National League Central. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games as they also trail the Cardinals by 3 whole games in the division. Taking a look at what happened in Minneapolis, the Minnesota Twins hosted the Chicago White Sox. The Twins would end up beating the White Sox 9-2 as they scored 8 of their 9 runs in the first 5 innings of the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the Chicago White Sox were led out by their starting pitcher, Vince Velasquez. Velasquez allowed 5 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 3.1 innings he pitched. With this loss, he's now 0-2 as he struck out 6 batters and walked 1. In the White Sox batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their elite first baseman and former American League MVP, Jose Abreu, would go 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 2nd home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Minnesota Twins were led out by their starting pitcher, Dylan Bundy. Bundy would allow no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk none as he picked up his 3rd win of the season. He is now 3-0 in 2022. In the Twins batting lineup, their center fielder Byron Buxton would go 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. He hit his 4th double of the season and his 4th home run of the season as he was a triple shy of the cycle. Their third baseman in this matchup, Luis Arraez, would go 4 for 5 with 3 RBIs. And then their catcher in this game, Ryan Jeffers, would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and 3 runs. Jeffers hit his first home run of the season. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are 7-8. That is the 2nd best record in the American League Central as they have now won their last 3 games. They are tied with the Texas Rangers for the 2nd longest active winning streak in the American League behind the Toronto Blue Jays. The Twins have now won 5 of their last 10. They are sitting half a game behind the division-leading Cleveland Guardians. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are 6-8. They are tied with the Detroit Tigers for the 3rd best record in the American League Central. They have now lost their last 6 games. Their 6-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the American League. Only the Cincinnati Reds have a longer losing streak than the White Sox in the MLB right now. The White Sox have lost 7 of their last 10 games as they now trail the division-leading Cleveland Guardians by a full game in the division. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Phillies hosted the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers would end up beating the Phillies 5-3. After the Phillies scored the first 3 runs of the game, the Brewers would score 4 in the 5th inning to, of course, take the lead. They would tie it off of a Christian Yelich single, but then after Christian Yelich would steal second, Willy Adames stole home, which would give the Brewers the lead that they ran away with. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Phillies were led out by their starting pitcher, Zach Wheeler. Wheeler picked up his 3rd loss of the season as he allowed 4 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters in that span, and with this loss, he's 0-3. In the Phillies batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their center fielder, Odubel Herrera. He went 2 for 3 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the Milwaukee Brewers were led out by their starting pitcher, Adrian Hauser. Hauser would allow 3 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 1 as he picked up his first win of the season. He is now 1-2 in 2022. The save would go to the Brewers' elite closer, Josh Hader. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This is the 7th save of the year for Milwaukee. In the Brewers batting lineup, their shortstop Willy Adames went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their right fielder Hunter Renfroe went 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his second home run of the season. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are 9-6. That is the second best record in the National League Central as they've won 7 of their last 10. They sit a full game behind the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals as they just have 2 more losses than the Cardinals at this point in the season. With this loss, the Philadelphia Phillies are 6-9. That is the 4th best record in the National League East. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games as they now trail the division-leading New York Mets by 4.5 games. Taking a look at what happened in the Bay Area, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Texas Rangers. The Rangers would end up beating the A's 2-0 as both of their runs came in the 8th inning, as Brad Miller would have a 2-run single to bring Adolis Garcia and Eli White home. On the losing end of this matchup, the shutout Oakland A's were led by their starting pitcher, Frankie Montas. Montas allowed 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 7.1 innings he pitched. As he picked up his second loss of the year. He would strike out 8 batters and walk 1. With this loss, Montas is now 2-2 on the year. In the A's batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. That would be attributed to great pitching from the Rangers. On the winning end of this matchup, the Rangers were led out by their starting pitcher, Martin Perez. He allowed no earned runs and only 2 hits in the 6 innings he pitched as he struck out 5. He would also walk 1. The win for the Rangers would go to their first relief pitcher, Brock Burke. He allowed no earned runs off of 1 hit in the 7th inning as he struck out a batter and even walked 1. With this win, he's now 2-0. The save would end up going to the Rangers' closer in this game, Matt Bush. Bush allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his first save of the year. In the Rangers batting lineup, nobody on their team finished with more than 1 hit. However, their left fielder, Brad Miller, had both of the team's RBIs as he went 1 for 4. With this win, the Texas Rangers are 5-9. They are currently on a 3-game winning streak, tied with the Minnesota Twins for the second longest active winning streak in the American League. They've won 4 of their last 10 games. They now trail the division-leading Seattle Mariners by 3.5 games in the division. And also looking at where they are still holding the worst record in the American League as well. The only team with a worse record than them right now, I guess there are 2 teams with worse records, are the Washington Nationals in the National League East and the Cincinnati Reds from the National League Central. Taking a look at where the A's are following this loss, they are now 8-8. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West, as they've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They now sit a game and a half behind the division-leading Seattle Mariners at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Cincinnati, the MLB's coldest team right now hosted the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals were able to shut out the Reds 5-0. On the losing end of this matchup in front of their hometown fans, the Reds were led out by their starting pitcher, Tyler Mahle. Mahle would allow 2 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 4.1 innings he pitched as he picked up his second loss of the season. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 3 before he was pulled in the 5th inning. With this loss, Mahle is 1-2. In the Reds batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit. That would be attributed to great pitching from the Cardinals. On the winning end of this matchup, the Cardinals were led out by their starting pitcher, Dakota Hudson. Hudson would allow no earned runs off of 2 hits in the 6.2 innings he pitched as he picked up his first win of the season. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 4 before he was pulled in the 7th. With this win, Dakota Hudson is 1-1 on the season. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Their right fielder, Dylan Carlson, went 2 for 5. And also their catcher, Andrew Kneiser, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are 9-4. That is the best record in the National League Central. Record-wise, it is the second best record in the major leagues, in the National League West. And of course, the major leagues is only the LA Dodgers have a better win percentage than the Cardinals right now. The Cardinals have won their last 2 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. They sit a full game ahead of the second-place Milwaukee Brewers, and in this case, they just lost 2 more games than the Brewers at this point. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are 2-13. That is the worst record in the National League Central, the worst record in the National League, and the worst record in baseball. They've lost their last 11 games, which is the longest active losing streak in baseball as well. They are trailing the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals by 8 whole games at this point, as they are 15 games into their season. Taking a look at what happened in Houston, the reigning American League champs Houston Astros hosted the Toronto Blue Jays. After the Astros took a 2-1 lead in the first inning, the Blue Jays would tie the game up at 2 in the 6th inning, thanks to a sac fly from Lourdes Gurriel, but it will be a solo home run from Santiago Espinal in the 7th inning to help the Blue Jays run a win with a 3-2 win. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Astros were led out by their starting pitcher, Jose Urquidy. Urquidy allowed 2 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 1. The loss for the Astros would go to their second relief pitcher, Blake Taylor. He allowed 1 earned run off of 1 hit, as he would go on to start the 6th inning but then get pulled in the inning. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Astros batting lineup, their left fielder Michael Brantley went 3 for 4 with a run, and then their right fielder Kyle Tucker went 3 for 4 as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the Toronto Blue Jays were led out by their starting pitcher, Alek Manoah. Manoah would allow 2 earned runs off of the 7 hits he allowed in 6 innings as he picked up his 3rd win of the season. He would strike out 5 on the day. With this win, Alek Manoah is 3-0. The save would end up going to the Blue Jays closer for the day, Adam Cimber. He allowed no earned runs off of the only hit he allowed in the 9th inning. He would strike out a batter as well, and with this save, he now has 1 on the year. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their elite first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. would go 2 for 4. He was the only player on the day who had more than 1 hit. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are 10-5. That is the best record in the American League East. They have now won their last 4 games. Their 4-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the major leagues right now. So, of course, congratulations to them. They have now won 7 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 1 game ahead of the second-place New York Yankees in their division. With this loss, the Houston Astros are 6-8. That is the 4th best record in the American League West, as they have now lost their last 4 games. Their 4-game losing streak is the second longest active losing streak in the American League, as the White Sox have a longer losing streak. The A's have lost 7 of their last 10 games. They are now trailing the division-leading Seattle Mariners by 2.5 games. Taking a look at what happened in Tampa, the Rays would take the Red Sox into extra innings. Through 9, the score was actually 0-0. The Red Sox would score 2 runs at the top of the 10th, thanks to an RBI triple from Bobby Dalbec and a sac fly from Christian Vazquez. Trailing by 2, the Rays would see Taylor Walls reach on a throwing error, which would lead Randy Arozarena to the plate, and then a 2-run home run from Kevin Kiermaier would give the Rays the win in walk-off fashion in the bottom of the 10th. On the losing end of this matchup, the Boston Red Sox were led out by their starting pitcher within this matchup, Garrett Whitlock. Whitlock allowed no earned runs off of 1 hit in the 4 innings that he pitched, as he struck out 7. The loss and the blown save would go to the Red Sox closer, Hansel Robles. Robles allowed 3 runs off of 1 hit in the .2 innings he pitched, as he struck out 2. This would be Robles' first blown save of the year, and with this loss, he's 1-1. In the Red Sox batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit, and that would be attributed to great pitching from the Rays. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Rays were led out by their starting pitcher, J.P. Feyereisen. Feyereisen pitched the first 2 innings of this game, striking out 2 batters, not allowing a run or a hit. The win would go to the Rays closer for the day, Matt Wisler, who would allow 2 runs off of 2 hits in the 10th inning as he struck out a batter. With this win, he's 1-0. In the Rays batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than one hit. Their center fielder, Kevin Kiermaier, went 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs, with both of the team's RBIs along with the run. He would go on to hit his first home run of the season as it was a walk-off. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 8-7. That is the third best record in the American League East as they've won 4 of their last 10 games. They sit 2 games behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays within their division. With this loss, these Boston Red Sox are 7-8. They are holding the 4th best record in the American League East. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games. They are trailing the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays by 3 games at the moment. Taking a look at what happened in Atlanta, the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves hosted the Miami Marlins. The Marlins would get the best of the Braves in this game as they won it 9-7. The Braves were up 7-6 going into the 7th inning. The Marlins would take the lead off of a 2-run single from Garrett Cooper, and then a sac fly from Jesus Aguilar in that inning would lead to their 2-run lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the Atlanta Braves were led out by their starting pitcher, Ian Anderson. Anderson allowed 3 runs off of 6 hits in the 5 innings that he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 3. The loss would go to the Braves' 3rd relief pitcher on the day, Spencer Strider. Strider would allow 3 earned runs off of 2 hits as he walked 2, would not register a single out in the 7th inning. He would pick up his first blown save of the season, and with this loss, Strider is 0-1. In the Braves batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Ozzie Albies, would go 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 6th home run of the season. Their catcher, Travis d'Arnaud, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 runs. And then their shortstop, Dansby Swanson, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. And with this win, the Atlanta Braves, on the winning end of this matchup, the Miami Marlins were led out by their starting pitcher, Elieser Hernandez. He would allow 5 earned runs off of the 7 hits he allowed in 4.2 innings. He struck out 4 batters in that span. The win for the Marlins would go to their second relief pitcher, Stephen Okert. Okert allowed no earned runs in the .2 innings that he pitched, as he would go on to finish the 6th inning. With this win, he's now 2-0. The save would end up going to the Marlins closer, Tanner Scott. Scott allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This is his first save of the season. In the Marlins batting lineup, their second baseman, Jazz Chisholm, would end up going 4 for 6 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. Chisholm would be a triple away from a cycle as he would go on to hit his 4th home run of the season. Their first baseman, Jesus Aguilar, will go 2 for 5 with an RBI. Their center fielder, Jesus Sanchez, went 2 for 4. Their designated hitter, Avasail Garcia, will go 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. And their shortstop, Joey Wendell, will go 2 for 5 with 2 runs as well. With this win, the Miami Marlins are now 6-8. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East as they've won 5 of their last 10. They sit 4 full games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the defending champs Atlanta Braves are 7-9. That is the 2nd best record in the National League East as they've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They also trail the division-leading New York Mets by 4 games in the division. Taking a look at what happened in Phoenix, the Arizona Diamondbacks hosted the New York Mets. The D-backs beat the Mets 5-2 after the Diamondbacks scored 4 runs in the first 3 innings of the game before the Mets would even get a chance to score. On the losing end of this matchup, the Mets were led out by their starting pitcher, Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams would go on to allow 4 earned runs off of 7 hits in the 2 innings he pitched as he picked up his 2nd loss of the season. With this loss, he's 0-2. In the Mets batting lineup, their left fielder, Jeff McNeil, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Arizona Diamondbacks were led out by their starting pitcher, Humberto Castellanos. He would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 5 innings he pitched as he struck out 5 and walked 1. With this win, Humberto Castellanos is 1-0. The save for the Diamondbacks went to their closer, Joe Mantiply. Mantiply would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. Mantiply picked up his first save of the year. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their center fielder, Dalton Varsho, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their right fielder, Pavin Smith, went 2 for 4 with an RBI as well. Their catcher, Carson Kelly, went 2 for 4 with a run as well. Also, their shortstop in this game, Geraldo Perdomo, went 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 6-9. That is the worst record in the National League West, as they've won 5 of their last 10 games. They are tied with the Philadelphia Phillies for the third worst record in the National League, as they are now sitting 4.5 games behind the division-leading Los Angeles Dodgers, who also hold the best record in the National League as a whole. With this loss, the New York Mets are 11-5. That is still the best record in the National League East. They've only lost 3 of their last 10 games. They sit 4 full games ahead of the second-place Atlanta Braves, and they also sit 4 games ahead of the third-place Miami Marlins in their division. They're sitting a whole series ahead of them. Taking a look at what happened in San Diego, the San Diego Padres hosted the LA Dodgers, as the Padres were able to pick up a 3-2 win in extra innings. After the Dodgers tied the game up at 2 in the 8th inning, it would be an Austin Nola sac fly to bring C.J. Abrams home to give the Padres their 10th win of the season. On the losing end of this matchup, the LA Dodgers were led out by their starting pitcher, Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 and walk 3. The loss would go to the Dodgers closer in this game. The loss would go to Justin Bruihl. Bruihl would allow 1 run in 0.2 innings pitched. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Dodgers batting lineup, no one on their team would finish with more than 1 hit, as their elite shortstop Trey Turner would finish with both of the team's RBIs. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown San Diego Padres were led out by their elite starting pitcher, Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 6 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 7 batters and even walk 3. The win will go to the Padres closer, Robert Suarez. Suarez would allow no earned runs in the 10th inning as he struck out a batter. With his win, he's now 1-1. And then, of course, in the Padres batting lineup, the only player on their team with more than 1 hit was their second baseman, Jake Cronenworth. Cronenworth went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his first home run of the 2022 season. With this win, the San Diego Padres are 10-6. That is the 4th best record in the National League West, win percentage-wise, as they are one of 3 teams with 10 wins in the division. They've won 6 of their last 10 games, as they sit a full game behind the division-leading LA Dodgers. With this loss, the LA Dodgers are 10-4. That is the best record in the National League West. Win percentage-wise, it is the best record in all of baseball. They've only lost 2 of their last 10 games, as they now sit half a game ahead of the second-place San Francisco Giants within their division. Taking a look at what happened with the other team in Los Angeles, in Anaheim, the LA Angels hosted the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles would end up beating the Angels 5-4 after the Angels were up 4-2 in the 8th. They jumped up 4-2 in the 6th inning. The Orioles would take the lead off of a 2-run single from Ryan Mountcastle after they had already seen Trey Mancini sac fly, put them within 1. But with this win, the Orioles now have 6 wins on the year, but of course, on the losing end of this matchup, the Los Angeles Angels were led out by their starting pitcher, Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard allowed 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and walk 2. The loss would go to the Angels' first relief pitcher, Aaron Loup. He allowed 3 runs off of 1 hit, as he would finish the 6th and start the 7th inning. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Angels batting lineup, their goated center fielder Mike Trout went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his 3rd and 4th home runs of the season. And on the winning end of this matchup, the Baltimore Orioles were led out by their starting pitcher Spencer Watkins. Watkins allowed 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 3. The win for the Orioles would end up going to their first relief pitcher, Brian Baker. He allowed 2 earned runs in the 6th inning as he struck out a batter. With his win, he's now 1-0. The save for the Orioles would go to their closer, Jorge Lopez. Lopez would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. This would be his 4th save of the season. In the Orioles batting lineup, their right fielder, Ryan Mountcastle, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs. And then their catcher in this matchup, Anthony Bamboom, will go 2 for 5 with a run. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are 6-9. That is the 5th best record in the American League East, as they've won their last 2 games. They've won 5 of their last 10 as well. They're holding the third worst record in the American League as they sit ahead of the Kansas City Royals and the Texas Rangers. At this moment, they are sitting 4 full games behind the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays within the American League East. With this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are 8-7. That is the second best record in the American League West. They've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 4 of their last 10. They sit a full game behind the division-leading Seattle Mariners at the moment. Speaking of the Mariners, looking at the last game of the day, the Mariners were able to beat the Kansas City Royals 13-7 at home. As the Royals were able to take a big lead at the end of the game, at the top of the 7th, they were able to go up 7-6. In the bottom of the 7th, the Mariners would tie it up off of an RBI single from Ty France. They would take the lead off of a drawn walk from Julio Rodriguez with the bases loaded. Jesse Winker would bring 2 home with a double to put them up by 3. And then Ty France's 3-run home run would be the cherry on top for the Mariners. On the losing end of this matchup, the Kansas City Royals were led out by their starting pitcher, Kris Bubic. Kris Bubic would allow 5 earned runs off of 7 hits in the first 2 innings of the game. He would strike out a batter and walk 1. The loss would go to the Royals setup relief pitcher Jake Brentz. He allowed 5 earned runs off of 1 hit as he would strike out a batter and walk 4 in the 8th inning. With his loss, he's now 0-3. In the Royals batting lineup, their left fielder Andrew Benintendi went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their right fielder Hunter Dozier went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run as well. Their rookie third baseman Bobby Witt Jr. went 2 for 5 with an RBI. And on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Seattle Mariners were led out by their starting pitcher Matt Brash. He allowed 3 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 4.1 innings he pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 4 before he was pulled in the 5th inning. The win will go to the Mariners setup relief pitcher Diego Castillo. Castillo allowed no earned runs in the 8th inning, and with his win, he's now 1-0. In the Mariners batting lineup, their first baseman Ty France went 5 for 6 with 5 RBIs and 3 runs. He will go on to hit his 4th home run of the season. And of course, taking a look at how he would go on to fare, he hit 4 singles on the day. Their shortstop, J.P. Crawford, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their elite third baseman, Eugenio Suarez, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Also, their catcher, Todd Murphy, went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their catcher, Julio Rodriguez, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are 9-6. That is currently the best record in the American League West. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 7 of their last 10. They now sit a full game ahead of the second-place Los Angeles Angels within their division. And right now, they are holding the second-best record in the American League alongside the Yankees as they sit behind the Toronto Blue Jays overall. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 5-8. That is the worst record in the American League Central. They've lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They sit a full game behind the division-leading Cleveland Guardians. That is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups, and I'm sorry if I butchered some of the names. Taking a look at what's going on today, because, of course, today is Sunday. We're going to have games all day. And it looks as though the only primetime matchup is going to be tonight at 7 o'clock as the 6-9 Philadelphia Phillies, who hold the 4th best record in the National League East, are going to host the Milwaukee Brewers, who are sitting with the 2nd best record in the National League Central. Aaron Nola is going to make the start for Philly, and Eric Lauer is going to make the start for the Milwaukee Brewers. Nola enters his matchup with a 1-2 record, holding a 5.52 ERA. Eric Lauer enters his matchup with a 1-0 record, holding a 3.48 ERA. Looking at the games that aren't on prime time, at 1:10, Shane McClanahan and the Tampa Bay Rays are going to host Rich Hill and the Boston Red Sox. At 1:10 at the same time, Tyler Alexander and the Detroit Tigers are going to host Chad Kuhl and the Colorado Rockies. At 1:35, the New York Yankees, who are going to be led by their elite starting pitcher Garrett Cole, are going to host Aaron Savali and the Cleveland Guardians. Garrett Cole enters his matchup having yet to get a win or a loss this year. He holds a 6.35 ERA. At 1:35, Bryce Elder and the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves are going to host the 6-8 Miami Marlins, led by Jesus Luzardo. At 1:35, the Washington Nationals, led by Joan Adon, are going to be hosting the San Francisco Giants, who are going to be led by Logan Webb. So that's going to be that matchup. Taking a look at what's going on at 1:40, Nick Lodolo and the National League worst Cincinnati Reds, who are holding an 11-game losing streak, are going to host Adam Wainwright and the St. Louis Cardinals, who are currently sitting on top of that very division. And then taking a look at what's going on in Minneapolis, Chris Archer and the Minnesota Twins are going to host Lucas Giolito and the Chicago White Sox. At 2:10 in Minute Maid Park, Luis Garcia and the Houston Astros are going to host Yusei Kikuchi and the Toronto Blue Jays. At 2:20 in Wrigley Field, Justin Steele and the Chicago Cubs are going to host JT Brubaker and the Pittsburgh Pirates. At 4:07 in Angel Stadium, Jose Suarez and the Los Angeles Angels are going to host Chris Ellis and the Baltimore Orioles. At the same time, Cole Irvin and the Oakland Athletics are going to host Garrett Richards and the Texas Rangers. At 4:10 at T-Mobile Park, Robbie Ray, the reigning American League Cy Young winner, and the Seattle Mariners are going to host Carlos Hernandez and the Kansas City Royals. At 4:10, Sean Manaea and the San Diego Padres are going to host the LA Dodgers, who are going to be led by their goated starting pitcher Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw enters his matchup with a 2-0 record, holding a 3-flat ERA. At 4:10, last but not least, out of the games that aren't going to be on primetime, Madison Bumgarner and the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to host Tyler McGill and the National League East leading New York Mets on Chase Field. That's what's happening, at least with the MLB. Taking a look at what's going on with soccer as we leave the North American continent. Taking a look first at what's going on in England. The top team in England that was able to play their game yesterday was Manchester City. They were able to beat Watford 5-1 as they would see 4 goals from their Brazilian striker Gabriel Jesus. And of course, a goal from Rodri would be sprinkled in the middle of there. With this win, Man City is still sitting very comfortably at the top of the Premier League. They are sitting 4 points ahead of second place Liverpool as they've played one more game than Liverpool at the moment. This puts all the pressure on Liverpool to win their next game. The next best team to play yesterday was Tottenham Hotspur, as Tottenham would draw a game. So they came into this game with the 4th best record in the Premier League, but they would actually drop as Arsenal would jump right over them after Arsenal would beat Manchester United 3-1. Their first goal would come in the 3rd minute of the game, as it would come from Nuno Tavares. Their second goal will come off of a penalty kick from their young, elite English forward, Bukayo Saka. Man U's lone goal came from their goated Portuguese forward, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Arsenal's last goal will come from Granit Xhaka in the second half. With this win, Arsenal now sits 4th in the Premier League as they sit 2 points behind Chelsea with 2 more games played than Chelsea. They sit 2 points now ahead of 5th place Tottenham, and with this loss, Man U is now sitting in 6th place in England. They sit 2 points over 7th place West Ham, as West Ham does have an opportunity to pass Man U in the table. But Man U, Tottenham, and Arsenal, the 4, 5, and 6 teams in England, are separated by 6 points as a result from that big win for Arsenal. That very well could be the reason that Man United doesn't make it into the Champions League tournament next year. Taking a look at what happened in Spain, yesterday was the Spanish Copa del Rey final as Real Betis would end up beating Valencia 5-4 on penalties to take home the Spanish Copa del Rey. Taking a look at what happened in France, the French title would of course be seized yesterday as PSG would end up drawing with Lyon 1-1. Their lone goal would come from their goated Argentinian forward Lionel Messi in the 68th minute. With this win, they are, of course, the title holders in Ligue 1. This, of course, can start a whole new streak, as last year the reigning champs were Lille. So they have, of course, made it so that the Ligue 1 does not have reigning champs this season. And it looks as though they have about 8 games left in their schedule. They sit 16 points ahead of Marseille at the moment, as Marseille has a game in hand. PSG has officially clinched the league, so of course, congratulations to PSG. This is a very good team, and they really kind of dominated this French league beginning to end. And then that was really the big game out there. Taking a look at what happened in Italy, the top team to play yesterday was Inter Milan, as they hosted AS Roma and were able to pull off a 3-1 win. Their goals in the first half will come from Denzel Dumfries and Marcelo Brozovic, and they would get their third goal from their elite Argentinian striker Lautaro Martinez before Roma scored their lone goal of the game. With this win, Inter Milan is currently sitting on top of the Serie A, 1 point ahead of their crosstown rivals AC Milan. They're sitting very close at that very top, but that is who Inter's competition is. So they were able to pull off a very big win for them. But that was the big Italian game yesterday. Taking a look at what happened in Germany, the German league was captured as well as Bayern Munich would end up winning the Bundesliga title for the 10th year in a row after they would end up beating Borussia Dortmund 3-1. Their first goal came from their elite German winger, Serge Gnabry. Their second would come from their goated Polish forward, Robert Lewandowski. And after Emre Can's penalty kick to bring it to within one in the second half, their third goal would come from their young German midfielder, Jamal Musiala. With this 3-1 win, Bayern now sits 12 points ahead of Borussia Dortmund with 3 games left. Or they said 12 points ahead of Dortmund, with 3 games left in their schedule, meaning they have already clinched the Bundesliga title for the 10th year in a row. The last team to win it was Borussia Dortmund. This season, of course, would be yet another season where Bayern is really dominated from beginning to end. And I will do a review once this whole season has come to an end. So, of course, congratulations to Bayern for clinching it. And some players, of course, winning it for the first time. Muller went on to win the Bundesliga for the 11th year in a row. And players like Kingsley Coman have played every single season with a team that's won a championship every year. And Bayern has been one of the teams that's been a consistent show of just excellence and dominance within their league. So that's where they sit. Dortmund sits second as they sit 8 points ahead of third place Leverkusen. Speaking of Leverkusen will go on to play their matchup yesterday. As they would face off against Greuther Fürth. They would win this matchup 4-1 to retain their third spot, as they still sit 1 point ahead of fourth place RB Leipzig. And RB Leipzig was able, looking at where RB Leipzig is, they actually fell short to Union Berlin, as Berlin would score both of their goals in the last minutes of the game, as it was a complete come-from-behind victory. Union Berlin still holds the 6th best record in Germany with this win, as they sit only 1 point ahead of 7th place Cologne. And then with this loss, RB Leipzig sits 1 point behind third place Leverkusen. They sit 2 points ahead of 5th place SC Freiburg in Germany, to get a sense of how that's sitting. But that is all of the sports that I have for you today. And but I guess before I say that, I want to thank the ESPN, the MLB, and FIFA websites for all those stats that I needed in order to do this. And I do want to come back tomorrow on Monday, April 25th, with everything that happened today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. I want to thank everyone for listening to all 62 minutes of this piece. I do hope all is well. My name is James Sims. This is The Elite. This is a project that I've literally been working on since right before my senior year at Duke. And I want to thank everyone for following me on this journey. I do hope all is well, and I will catch you with more tomorrow. Thanks for listening to my piece, and peace out.